Hello and welcome to the 20th edition of Open Roads New Italian Cinema, an annual co-presentation of the Istituto Luce Cinecittà and Film at Lincoln Center. I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm a programmer at Film at Lincoln Center. Just want to welcome you all to this year's edition. You have just seen Sirley, her Maledetta Primavera, directed by Elisa Amoruso. I am very happy to say that we're joined now by the director herself to have a little discussion of the film. So welcome, Elisa.
Hi, Dan. I'm so sorry to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you for the selection. I am really honored by this. I always loved open road films, so that's what was one of my goals. So I'm really happy. I'm so sorry we couldn't be there all together talking about the movie in present, but we really hope sooner or later we will. So thank you.
So why don't we kind of begin at the beginning. You'd previously worked in documentary, and this is your first fiction film. Maybe we could, why don't we start with the writing of the film? As I understand it, there's kind of an autobiographical element to the narrative. So maybe could you tell us a bit about the initial impulse to do a fiction film and sort of how perhaps the script developed from there?
Yes, as you said, my career before was much more focused on documentary films. So this is my first fiction, and these things I had. It was to tell a story that could be universal but private in the same time. So that's why probably I was looking for my memories, and I was trying to dig into my memories, especially about that moment of life that is adolescence. It is something that I am really concerned in. And I was telling this story that was part of my autobiographical story, especially was connected with the stories of my mom and my father, because those characters that you are going to watch, or that you maybe have already watched in the movie, are more or less exactly like them, or at least they are very, very, very similar. So I was starting to tell this story with this guy that was my father, that was bringing into my house this table to play, and in the beginning, during this moving that we did actually in late 90s, and my producer, they were very surprised, and they kind of liked the story. And then I was telling something more about this special friendship I had with this girl that was exactly a girl. Also, her, she's pretty similar, or at least she's pretty similar to what I remember. So what I was trying to remember and to have in the story is something very much connected to the intimacy of a girl that is like 13, and she just started to know her body for the first time, and she just would like to know something more about sex, not only about life. And in a way, sex connected with life and with that identity. So basically, I was pretty much interested in telling a coming of age story, because I thought that it could be emotional also for guys and girls who started to watch the movie. But it was, yes, it started from my experience. So it was a little bit difficult for me, but in a way it was also simple, because I knew pretty well these characters, and I knew exactly what it meant for them to change the house, change the neighborhood, to make this huge transformation, this huge change in life. No, because when you are 12 and you change the house where you live until that moment, it's really a huge change, and you have to find your place in the world for the second time. No, so that was really that was my focus basically.
Would you say that from your perspective, is there was there a kind of continuity, like in having your first fiction film be this sort of at least semi-autobiographical coming of age story? Do you think there's any kind of continuity there with your documentary work? Do you think maybe having that background kind of because it clearly, you know, it puts you in like a distinct position approaching this kind of film versus, you know, what a lot of other people do. So yeah, I was wondering if you had any sort of reflections about that, or
yes, for sure. There's a continuity with the documentaries, especially maybe with the Unposted, that is the documentary about Chiara Ferragni's life. Because doing that documentary, I realized that I was really interested in telling the stories about family. And I had this huge, I was very lucky because Chiara and their family, they had a lot of footage, and they had a lot of pictures and photos and videos also of 90s and 80s that I could use to tell their story, you know, because I started to build the relationship in this family through the documentary, through her portrait. And so probably in that moment, I found that I was really moved by this image, by this footage. And it happened exactly the same when I saw for the first time all the footage from my family, because my father, he was really selling cameras in the market. So he was really, so he had a lot of footage because we had a lot of photos and it was an analogic era. So we had a lot of stuff. And in all these, watching this footage from Chiara's movie and from my family, I realized that I am really interested in telling the stories connected with family. So my main focus, except for the girl, was only about the perception and the perspective of a girl, of a young girl on her parents. No? So what do you think when you are 12 and nobody understands you, and and the adults, they have their own world, and probably, I mean, they are not so focused on you, or they cannot because they have their problems. So this was my perspective in the movie, in Sirley, or Maledetta Primavera, if you wanna, we have two different titles. But somehow my main focus was to have this interest of a young girl, of this perspective of a young girl on the adult world. And it was very much connected with the work I was doing during the documentaries, also with Bellissime, that is Beautiful, another documentary movie I did before with Fandango. And it was all about three young girls and their family and the connection with the mother. So also in that family, we had a lot of footage from the family. So probably in this archive, I like to look for real emotion into this real footage, and this came up to me as a sort of image immediately while I was writing Sirley, because I realized that I wanted to make the same with my experience, so with my personal footage, so in this sense with my memories. And that's why I found this girl as the main character, Nina, because it's her perspective, it's her point of view on the adults that I really wanted to be focused on. And I also wanted to be focused on the relationship with the parents, because I think it's really common and it's really universal. In that moment of your life, you don't know who you are, and you try to find some models, but you don't know. It's very difficult to have role models in your parents. So you just wandering, in life, without an answer. So Nina is looking for an answer. Probably Sirley gives her something to recognize this answer. Maybe they have the same question, so they help each other in looking for their identity in the world.
I wanted to ask about the actors in the film, given some of this the kind of autobiographical specificity that of the different characters in the film that you were talking about earlier. Maybe just to begin, before talking more like specifically about some of your collaborations with the actors in the film, maybe could you tell us a bit about how the casting proceeded?
Yes, it was not easy at all to find the two main characters of this movie, because it was really difficult finding Sirley. It was the most difficult cast, because we were looking for this girl, and in Italy we couldn't really find her. So suddenly we moved to Paris, and we tried to make a cast there, and we finally found Manon. And that's why the language of the two girls became French in the original version of the movie, because Manon could speak only French. She couldn't speak English, she couldn't speak Italian, but she was so perfect for the character. So in a way, I chose her, and I changed these elements of the story. And I found later on that also the fact that these two girls could have their own language could be even stronger for the movie, because they could understand each other, and nobody could understand them. So in a way, we used the French as another element that was not in the script before, because previously they were supposed to speak Italian. And as for Emma, Emma is playing the role of Nina, and it was also very difficult to find her. We had a lot of days of casting, and she's pretty different from me. So of course, I didn't tell her exactly that it was my life. I didn't tell her. So I was just trying to talk with her about the character that was in my mind. But my method in this specific moment, and also because probably I was coming from documentary movies, so maybe it was easier for me. It was easier to adjust the character on my actress and not the opposite. Probably also because Emma, it was her first time on set. So it was also very surprising and difficult and shaky for her. So it was easier starting to talk with her, to say, so what do you think? What do you like? For instance, in the movie, I wrote a novel before of this story, and in the novel, the main character Nina, she has a passion that is classic dance, but Emma was not able to dance at all. So immediately when she read the script, she told me, "Okay, Elizabeth, I cannot dance. Please, don't trust me, I cannot." And so I asked her, "So what's your passion? What's your favorite hobby? What's your?" And she answered that she liked to play the sax, and that's why we use the sax in the movie. So we worked in this direction, not to be too far from the real human being in this case, because I saw that otherwise it could be too difficult and probably impossible with them, because they were young, they were delicate, they were talented. But I was supposed to recognize that their talent and to use it in the best way. So in this sense, Manon, the girl who plays the role of Sirley, is older than Emma, so she helps her a little bit in working, in training. And it was very much important working before that with an acting coach, but it was very useful for me to find a connection between the two. So they started to have a real relationship. And at the end of the movie, they were very sorry and very sad because the movie was over. And Manon would have gone back to Paris, and Emma would have stayed in Rome. So there was a real relationship between them, and it was really necessary for their relationship in the movie. And I think that slowly their relationship grows a little bit in the movie, because the relationship grew when they were working together before.
Yeah, I would, this is relatedly, I would be curious to know just sort of what impressions you had of working with like younger actors sort of in general. I think, you know, Emma Fasano and Manon Bresch are perhaps you know, they have to do like quite a lot in this film. So it seems like finding the right characterization with them is very important, but then there are other young actors in the film as well. Yeah, just did you have any sort of, did anything kind of surprise you about the experience of working with the younger actors, and sort of, you know, what would you say was your general approach there?
Well, of course, when you work with an actor that is so young and is so pure, you have a lot of. I mean, I was basically in love with them, so I was trying to catch all the time their expressions, their thoughts, their changing, and it was kind of crazy stuff, because suddenly I started to say, okay, we didn't write this scene yet, but we are writing this scene now. So please, Emma, do it again. Watch in that direction exactly as we did 1 second before. And it was like a sort of an improvisation on that, because I think that when you have so young actors, you have to be ready to catch everything they offer you, even when they don't want it, because very often they don't want it, and they give you something. For instance, it was very difficult for me to have Nina, very angry. No, that was very difficult to read, to get to have this emotion from her, because she's very quiet. She has a very let's say intimate and delicate nature. So it was really difficult, and her mom wasn't sad in those days. And I remember there was this scene when she screams at her mom, at Micaela Ramazzotti in the movie, and it was really difficult for Emma. So suddenly her mom was telling her other things, and so I went to talk to her, and I asked her, what's going to happen, Emma? What do you have? Why you cannot be really angry in this thing? And she told me, and she was really angry and pissed off. Because my mom, she always wants to make me think as she wants, but I want to make in a different way, in my own way. And so in that moment, I told her, okay, Emma, please show me your own way. So show me what you really feel. Give me this feeling, help me in this scene, building the same emotion you are having in this moment against your real mom. So please try to keep something of this, because it's very good. And it's strange, but she did it. So she used it, and she was able to make a change in the scene that she did several times. So in this sense, she helped me a lot, and I was very scared especially in the scenes of intimacy between these two girls, because I was scared that maybe Emma could be too young. And I was really surprised when I realized that Manon, that was older and much more experienced, and for her it was a problem, like to get so much close. I mean, she was a little bit shy, and she was like one step behind. But Emma, indeed, she was okay. She was totally free. She didn't have any problem in get undressed. So that was a sort of another surprise, no? That you really don't expect. And of course, especially Emma, she was adjusting very much the dialogue according to her way of feeling things in life, no? Because it was not properly her language, and I thought that she was perfect in this being innocent, but in the same time starting to change, starting to become a woman. So that was something that I really wanted to catch, and I really hope I did, or at least for me, she was exactly what I was looking for. And so I tried to have as much as I could from her, and not to try to put her something on me that could be probably even not sincere. No, I was kind of looking for a sincere interpretation, something that could be really similar to my documentary movie that I did before. No, then you have to have a real character in front of the camera, and not to have an imitation of a character.
And I think we're actually we're running out of time, so I'll conclude with I guess one more question. It's kind of related to what you were just talking about. I'd be curious to know. Yeah, I think given the fact you have to you're working with the younger actors, and the sort of intimacy and personal nature of the story. I'm then curious about like how like how your thinking proceeds, or how the conceptualization of the place of like race and sexuality in the film is. It seems very important. It's not always like it's not always like remarked upon by the characters and so on, but it's like it's obviously very present. So maybe could you just tell us a bit about sort of your conceptual approach to kind of having that be in the film, sort of what the significance was for you?
If I got your question, you are asking me if what's my relationship with my being, my experience inside this movie.
Well, it's more like how you were like how you wanted to like handle that in the film, sort of like what was your approach, like what like I don't know, it just seems like there's so much going on in the film that like I'm I think you probably thought thought through how to integrate that with everything else in the film. So that's kind of the question.
Okay. Well, even if it's not, I think that in this case, my real experience was helping me a lot, as far as it was the first fiction film. So it was really a huge help. But in the same time, especially in the editing room, I tried to handle this autobiographical element in a way that could not be too much. I mean, I tried to find a balance between what was important for me to tell and what could be important to get to an audience, because my main issue was to make an emotional movie. I mean, I didn't want to leave the viewer behind. I would like the viewer to be inside. So this was my main point. No, I wanted to tell a story that could give emotions to the audience. And so, for instance, there were other parts of the script that they were pretty good in reading. When we read them, we were laughing and we thought they were amazing. And I tried to show them that they were not, actually, they were not enough. I mean, these episodes, they were brilliant. When I remembered them, when I tried to shoot them, but the effect was not, the result was not the one we wanted. And so in this sense, it was really, I mean, I tried to be very rational, and in the end, these things that they were not good enough for me, they are not in the movie. So well, I tried to keep this distance. Now I think that when you make an autobiographical story, you have to handle not these elements that could help you, but can also destroy you because you are not rational enough. So this is what I try to do, and I really hope I found the balance. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, I think basically, yeah. And I do think you achieved the balance that you're hoping that you could achieve. But yeah, like I said, we have to leave it there for now. But just want to thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for the film, and yeah, I hope with the next one we can see you in New York even.
Yeah. I mean, the next movie I just finished is Time Is Up, is totally with American actors. So probably you will watch it in the American theaters next year. So yeah, let's hope to have again another chance to meet.